I died, choking on my own blood. The taste of betrayal as sharp as the knife in my gut. My sister's face was the last thing I saw, smiling. Triumphant. Her manicured nails still wrapped around the hilt as she whispered. Finally, it's mine. But death isn't the end, it's just a shitty intermission. When I gasped awake in my old apartment, 25 again, and staring at the calendar marked September 15th, 2018, I knew, this time, I'd make her pay. The air smelled like stale coffee and regret. The kind that clings to your skin after a night of bad decisions. I bolted upright on the lumpy futon that had been my bed back then, heart slamming against my ribs like it was trying to escape. My hands, younger, unscarred, flew to my stomach, expecting the warm gush of life leaking out. Nothing. Just the faint ache of a hangover from that godforsaken office party 3 years before the end. The mirror across the room showed my face, Jasmine Hale, wide-eyed, alive, with the same unruly curls and freckles that my mother always called unruly weeds. But my eyes? They burned with the fire of a woman who'd been gutted twice, once by steel, once by family. I laughed then, a raw, ugly sound that echoed off the peeling wallpaper. Reborn.
重生,
as the old Vietnamese folktales my grandma used to whisper called it. Not some ethereal bullshit with angels and light, no. This was gritty, American-style resurrection me. Handed a do-over in the body of the fool who'd trusted too much. The clock on the wall ticked to 7:42 a.m. The exact moment I'd gotten the call that changed everything, my promotion at Sterling & Koch, the cutthroat investment firm where I'd clawed my way up from intern to junior analyst. That call had been my ticket out of this shithole walk-up in Brooklyn, the first step toward the life they stole. But I remembered every betrayal like it was etched in acid. My sister, Lila, blonde, bubbly Lila, the golden child, had always been Mom's favorite. She's the pretty one, Mom would say, while I busted my ass through night classes at NYU, scraping by on ramen and student loans. Lila flitted from one dead-end job to another, modeling gigs that paid an exposure, and a trust fund daddy left her before he bailed when I was 10. He was the first ghost in our family saga, a Wall Street hotshot who blew it all on coke and mistresses, leaving Mom bitter and us broke. I was the fixer, the one who patched the leaks. Lila? She was the leak. By 2021, I'd made it. Senior analyst at 30, pulling 6 figures, and I'd sunk every penny into that $920,000 condo in Midtown Manhattan, a sleek 2-bedroom with Hudson River views that screamed, I did it despite you. It was my fortress. My fuck you to the world that said girls like me, mixed race, mouthy, from a fractured home, didn't climb that high. Mom and Lila came to celebrate. Mom cooed over the quartz counters, the Sub-Zero fridge I'd maxed out my credit for.
Oh,
Jasmine.
It's
adequate, she'd said, her voice dripping with that passive-aggressive honey. Then Lila dropped the bomb. She'd bought a cozy brownstone in Williamsburg with her latest sugar daddy's cash. Mom lit up like it was Christmas. My baby girl's finally settling down. Look at this charm. It's so you. Lila. I bit my tongue, poured more wine, told myself it didn't matter. But it festered. That night, as they crashed in my guest room, I overheard them in the kitchen at 2 a.m. She's too ambitious, Ma, Lila hissed. Always has been. That condo's prime real estate, once she's out of the picture. Mom's laugh was a knife twist. We'll make it look like a robbery gone wrong. The insurance alone. My blood ran cold. They'd been planning it for months. Ever since I updated my will, leaving everything to a scholarship fund for kids like me.
Not them.
Never them. 3 weeks later, it happened. I came home late from a client dinner, buzzed on Merlot and victory. We closed a $50 million deal. The door was ajar. Lila waited in the shadows. Ski mask pulled low. But her perfume gave her away. Chanel no.
5.
The one I'd bought her for her birthday. The knife plunged once.
Twice.
Into my gut. I hit the floor, gurgling, as she rifled through drawers for the deed. Mom called 911 from a burner, her voice all sobs and shock. They got the condo, sold it for a cool $1 million after the tragic loss, and toasted my memory with the proceeds. Poor Jasmine, the headlines read. Rising star stabbed in apparent burglary.
Now.
Back in 2018, I wasn't poor Jasmine anymore. I was a goddamn phoenix. Feathers sharpened to blades. First things first, survival. I grabbed my phone, the ancient flip model that predated my smartphone upgrade, and dialed Sterling and Coke. Jasmine Hale here. Tell Marcus I'm coming in early. And cancel my lunch with accounting. No time for small talk. I needed that promotion locked down before Lila could sniff it out. The subway rattled me into Manhattan, the familiar stink of piss and ambition hitting like a drug. I emerged at Wall Street, heels clicking on the granite like gunfire. Sterling and Coke's tower loomed, all glass and ego, the kind of place that ate dreamers for breakfast. Marcus, my boss, a silver-haired shark with a penchant for Cuban cigars, eyed me over his desk like I'd grown a second head. Hale, you're early. Hell, you're never early. I leaned in, channeling the ghost of my future self. Marcus, that merger with Vanguard? I've got projections that'll make your board cream their Armanis. But I need the lead on it. Full credit, he chuckled. But I saw the hook set. By noon, it was mine. The deal that would have taken me 3 years? I closed it in 6 months, riding a wave of caffeine and cold calculation. No more late nights doubting myself. I knew every pitfall, every rival's dirty secret. Money flowed like the East River at high tide. By spring 2019, I had $200,000 in the bank. Enough for a down payment on something better than that Williamsburg starter home Lila was eyeing.
But I didn't buy yet.
Patience. Jasmine. Let them think I was still the grindstone sister, the one who'd bail them out. Mom called every Sunday,
Her voice syrupy.
How's work? Jazzy? Lila's got this audition. Could you spot her cab fare? I sent the Venmo. $50 here. $100 there. Just enough to keep the leash loose. Lila moved to the city that summer, crashing at my old apartment till she got on her feet. I let her. Played the big sis role. We met for brunches at trendy spots in Soho, where influencers snapped pics of avocado toast and whispered about boss babe life. She'd gush about her side hustle, selling knockoff handbags on Instagram, while I nodded, sipping my mimosa, memorizing the tells, the way her eyes flicked to my watch. A Rolex I'd snagged at auction, appraising it like prey. One night, over greasy diner fries, she dropped the bait.
Jazz.
Mom's been on me about investing. You know, with your fancy job. Any tips? I smiled. Slow and sharp. Buy low. Sell high. But family first, right? She laughed. Too loud. And I filed it away, the first crack in her facade. By fall, I'd hit VP level, unheard of for someone my age. But I was a machine, fueled by hate. The condo hunt started in earnest. Real estate agent, a slick guy named Trent with a man bun and zero fucks. We toured lofts in Chelsea, penthouses in Tribeca. But my heart was set on Midtown. That $920,000 gem, views for days. Gym on site. Doorman who vetted visitors like CIA. I put in an offer. All cash from bonuses I'd never let them touch. Closing day, November 2019. I stood in the empty space, echoes bouncing off hardwood floors, and whispered to the ghost of my dead self, "This is mine. And this time, they won't take it." I furnished it sparse at first, white leather sectional. Abstract art that screamed, "I have taste and trauma," but it was home. My fortress, rebuilt stronger. Mom and Lila invited themselves over the weekend after. A housewarming, Mom trilled on the phone. We wouldn't miss it. I prepped charcuterie, chilled a bottle of Napa Cab, told myself to breathe. They arrived in a cab. Mom in her knockoff Chanel, irony noted. Lila in yoga pants that cost more than my first car. The tour started sweet. Mom oohed at the balcony. Lila snapped selfies in the bathroom mirror. Then the kitchen, that marble island, gleaming under recessed lights.
It's
nice, Mom said, her fingers trailing the edge like she was pricing it. Lila wandered to the windows, peering at the river.
cozy.
But have you seen my new place? I just closed on this brownstone in Williamsburg, $750K. Total steal. Exposed brick. Garden out back. Mom helped pick it out. Mom beamed, squeezing Lila's arm. My girl's got vision. It's got so much character. Jazzy. Not like these sterile boxes. The words landed like slaps. But I poured the wine. Clinked glasses. To family, I said, and watched them drink deep. They praised Lila's place for an hour, the charm, the potential for flips, how it was so her. I nodded.
Smiled.
Until the silence stretched thin. What about you? Mom? Still in Queens. She waved it off. Oh. You know. Same old. But Lila's got me over there all the time. Cooking in that kitchen? Heaven. I set my glass down. Actually, I wanted to show you something. I led them to the master suite, threw open the doors to the walk-in closet, rows of tailored suits, heels that clicked authority, a safe bolted to the floor. This place? It's not just a home. It's my legacy.
No debts. No handouts.
All me. Lila's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. Legacy?
Jazz.
That's cute. But real estate's about soul, not spreadsheets. Mom nodded, eyes glazing over my view. The silence hit then thick.
Accusatory.
They stared at the skyline, at my life laid bare, and said nothing.
No congrats, no toast.
Just the weight of what they'd never give. Pride. That night, after they left in a huff, "Traffic's killer," Lila muttered. I sat on the balcony, city lights blurring through tears I didn't shed. This was just the opening act. I knew their script. The whispers would start. The Jasmine's too selfish, Barb's at family holidays. But I had mine rewritten. I pulled out my laptop, started the file, Operation Reckoning. Step 1. Dig up Dad's old scandals. He'd left more than money. He'd left dirt. Embezzlement from his firm. Affairs that tanked marriages. Mom had buried it, but not deep enough. A few calls to old contacts, and I'd have proof. Winter 2019 bled into 2020. The world grinding to a halt with COVID. But not my revenge. Quarantined in my condo. I worked remotely, raking in commissions while Mom and Lila holed up in that precious brownstone. Video calls with them were a minefield, Mom coughing dramatically. It's nothing. But your sister's nursing me. Lila posting thirst traps from her cozy couch. I sent groceries, masks, even a Peloton for morale. Each gift a thread in the noose. By summer, Dad's files arrived, FedEx from a PI I'd hired off Craigslist. Pages yellowed with age, forged signatures, offshore accounts. And there, buried in the margins, Mom's handwriting. Take the hit, Richard. For the girls. She'd known. All along. She'd covered for him. Then turned on me when I wouldn't play the same game. My hands shook as I scanned them into my cloud drive. Password protected with Lila's birthday. Ironic.
Right?
The first leak was subtle, an anonymous tip to the Times real estate section. Williamsburg brownstone boom. Who's really footing the bill? It ran in August, hinting at questionable financing in hot properties. Lila's place got a shout-out. Her Instagram handle blurred but recognizable. Comments flooded. Sugar daddy alert? She called me sobbing.
Yes.
Did you see? It's ruining me. I feigned shock. Babe, that's awful. But hey, real estate's cutthroat. Remember that merger I closed? Same vibe. She hung up, and I poured scotch.
Neat.
Fall brought the rail storm. I'd risen to director at the firm. My name on plaques. Bonuses hitting 7 figures. Mom's health scare, hypochondria, mostly gave me the in. I flew them to the condo for support, private jet, courtesy of points I'd never use otherwise. They arrived wary. Mom clutching her pearls, Lila scrolling Zillow like a lifeline. Dinner was steak and secrets. I served the fillets rare, blood pooling like old wounds. So, Lila, how's the flip going? Mom said you're staging it for sale. She perked up, launching into Reno porn, shiplap walls. Quartz counters sound familiar? Mom chimed in. It's going to be stunning. Unlike some places that feel so cold. There it was again, the dig. I set down my fork. Cold? Like how Dad's lies felt cold when he left us penniless. The table froze. Mom's wine glass trembled. Jasmine, that's ancient history. Is it? I slid the folder across the island, digital printouts. Highlighted. Mom's notes glared up like accusations. Lila snatched one, eyes widening. What the fuck?
Yes?
This is blackmail. Truth. Actually, my voice was steel. Dad embezzled $2 million. Mom knew. Signed off. They framed his partner. Ruined lives. And now, you're doing the same, Lila's brownstone? Financed with laundered cash from Dad's old slush fund. I traced it. Lies? Half. The fund was real, but I'd exaggerated the trail. Enough to spook. Mom went white, whispering, "You don't understand. It was for you girls." For Lila, I cut in. Always Lila. I was the mule, carrying the guilt while you two played victims. The room crackled, tension thick as fog off the river. Lila lunged, nails out, but I sidestepped, grabbing her wrist. Touch me, and the cops get the full drop. IRS too. She deflated, tears streaming. We were desperate.
Yes.
After Dad. Mom said it was the only way. Mom sobbed then. The performance I'd seen 100 times. I did it for family. You were always running off. Chasing dreams. Lila stayed. Stayed to leech. The words hung. Controversial as hell, calling out the favoritism that American families pretend doesn't exist. But it was true. Raw. The kind of truth that splits bloodlines. They left at dawn.
Cab fare on me.
No goodbyes. Just silence echoing in my halls. For weeks. Radio static. Then the calls. Lawyers.
Threats.
I lawyered up to top firm. Pro bono for the publicity. The leak escalated. A podcast episode on family fortunes. The dark side of inheritance. My voice distorted. Spilling just enough. November 2020. Lila's brownstone went into foreclosure. Buyers spooked by the whispers. Mom's illness turned out to be stress-induced ulcers. Her Medicaid maxed. They showed up at my door. Rain-soaked. Desperate. Jazzy. Please, Mom begged through the peephole. We're all we have. I opened it, but not wide. You had me. Once. Lila pushed in.
Wild-eyed.
This is your fault. You always hated us succeeding. Succeeding off my back? I laughed. Bitter. The condo's not for sale. Neither am I. The confrontation peaked that night, screams bouncing off windows. Neighbors peeking through blinds. Lila swung a vase. I ducked, glass shattering like our bonds. Mom clutched her chest. Theatrical collapse. My heart. Call 911 yourself, I said.
Dialing anyway.
As sirens wailed, I whispered to Lila, You killed me once. Remember the knife? This time.
Et chose merci.
Her face crumpled. Recognition dawning? No. Just fear. But in her eyes, a flicker, the sister I'd buried. They survived. Of course. Mom got a stent. Billed to my insurance reluctantly. Lila entered rehab, for stress, she claimed. I visited once. In that sterile room, with bleach-scented regret. Why? She rasped. Because blood's thicker than theft. But don't test it. I left a check, $50K. Enough for a fresh start. Not the brownstone. Controversial? Hell yes. Forgiving the unforgivable? Maybe. Or just ensuring they owed me forever. By 2021, the firm made me partner. The condo? I expanded it. Added a nursery, twist of fate. Or irony. I met Alex at a gala. A quiet architect with laugh lines and no skeletons. We married in the spring. Vows on that balcony. To second chances. Mom and Lila? Distant now. Holiday cards and stilted calls. They praise Alex's charm, never my wins. But the silence when they visit? It's respect. Grudging. Earned in bloodless war. I died once.
Reborn in fire.
This life? It's mine flawed. Fierce. American as apple pie laced with arsenic. And if they forget, the folder waits. A ghost in the cloud. But mercy's a fragile thing. And mine cracked under the weight of old habits. 6 months after the confrontation, Lila texted at 3 a.m. Need to talk.
Urgent.
Meet at the brownstone. The property was a husk by then, foreclosure signs peeling like scabs. Weeds choking the garden Mom once raved about. I should have ignored it. Blocked the number like I'd threatened a dozen times. But curiosity's a bitch.
And revenge?
It's addictive. I drove over in my Audi black. Sleek. A far cry from the rust bucket Civic of my first go-round. Williamsburg at midnight was a ghost town. Hipster bars shuttered. The air thick with weed and regret. The brownstone loomed on a side street. Windows dark as accusations. Lila's Prius sat crooked in the drive. Headlights off. I parked a block away. Slipped my pepper spray into my coat. Lesson learned from Death One. The door creaked open at my knock. No lights inside. Lila. My voice echoed. Swallowed by shadows. A figure moved in the hall. Her. Disheveled. Hair matted. Eyes hollow.
Jazz.
Thank God. She pulled me in. Door slamming like a trap. The living room was a war zone. Drop cloths yellowed with dust. Half-painted walls mocking the charm. Empty wine bottles littered the floor. A bottle of Xanax spilled on the coffee table. What's this about? I kept distance. Back to the wall. She paced, wringing her hands.
Mais c'est sick. For real this time. Cancer.
Stage 3.
Docs say.
Months. Maybe. The word hung.
A bomb.
I waited for the ask, the money, the condo's spare room. But she stopped, eyes pleading. I found something. In the attic, going through Dad's boxes. You were right about the fund, but it's worse. She thrust a USB drive into my palm, small and black as sin. Plug it in. The laptop's over there. Against every instinct. I did, screen flickering to life. Files unfolding like a digital autopsy. Emails. First, Dad to Mom. 2005. Richard. The offshore's clean. $1.2 million. Enough for the girls' futures. Then replies, Mom's. Frantic.
No.
Richard. Jasmine's asking questions. She's too smart, NYU's filling her head with ethics. A pause. Then, make it look like the partner's fault. He's scum anyway. My stomach twisted. I'd known the bones. But this? Flesh and venom. More files. Bank statements. Transfers to a shell company, Hale Heritage Holdings. And there, buried, payments to a PI. Not just any, tracking me. Subject, Jasmine Hale. Current residence, 1472, DeKalb Avenue. Financials, $24,000 savings. Vulnerability, high workload, isolation. They'd watched me. From the start. Lila hovered, voice cracking. I didn't know.
Jazz. Swear. But Ma.
She confessed on her deathbed. Wait. No, not deathbed. But after the chemo. Said it was to protect us from Dad's mess.
But you?
You were the loose end. Rage boiled. Hot and familiar. Protect? By sabotaging me? Those anonymous tips to my bosses in 2019. Hale's unstable. Drinks too much. That was you. Her flinch was answer.
Mais c'est idea.
Thought it'd keep you grounded. Not flying too high. We were scared you'd leave us behind. Behind? I yanked the laptop cord. Screen dying. I carried you. Loans for Lila's modeling school. Mom's medical bills that were just spa days. And for what? A knife in my gut. She recoiled. Knife? What are you? I grabbed her shoulders, forcing eye contact. Don't play dumb. October 2021. My condo. You in a mask, But that perfume? Unmistakable. The memory flooded. Her silhouette. The glint of steel. The gurgle in my throat. Here. In this half-gutted house. It played vivid. Lila's face strained.
Yes, that was.
A dream?
No.
Wait. Panic edged her words. But I saw the lie flicker, gone in a blink, replaced by sobs.
Please.
Ma needs treatment. Experimental stuff in Boston. $300,000. I sold the car. Everything. But it's not enough.
The ask.
Classic. I pocketed the drive.
Stepped back.
And this? Leverage?
No.
Proof.
For you.
To understand. She sank to the floor, knees drawn up. We're hale women. We fight dirty because the world's dirtier.
But I
love you.
Yes.
Always did.
Love.
The words soured in my mouth. American as it gets, dysfunctional. Hallmark-wrapped poison. I could have walked. Left her to rot. Controversial choice. Mercy again. Or the final cut. Instead, I knelt. Voice low. One chance. Wire the files to my secure drop. Then we talk, Mom. Together. Dawn broke as we drove to Queens. The USB burning in my pocket. Mom's bungalow was a time capsule. Faded curtains. Dad's old recliner sagging in the corner. She was in the kitchen, brewing tea. Chemo-ravaged but defiant. Wig askew. Robe belted tight. Jasmine. Lila. To what do I owe this ambush? We laid it out, the drive, the emails, the surveillance. Mom's cup clattered. Tea spilling like tears. You think you know pain? Your father broke me. Left me with 2 girls and a mountain of debt. I did what I had to. For Lila, I said. Not me. Never me. She met my gaze. Eyes steel. You are strong. Too strong. Like Richard. I couldn't risk you turning out like him. Ambitious. Then ashes. Lila needed shaping. You were born forged. The room spun. Betrayal's layers peeled back, revealing rot at the core. So, the stabbing? Your plan too. Silence. Then, soft, Lila acted alone. Desperation. The condo's equity. It would have saved us. Mom's hand trembled on mine. Forgive. Jazzy. Family's all we've got. I pulled away. Family? Or a noose? The decision crystallized. Expose it all? Or bury deeper? I chose the gray, therapy for Lila. A trust for Mom's care. But under my terms. No more shadows. Back in the condo. Alex waited, dinner simmering. Concern in his eyes. Rough night. I collapsed into him. The USB clutched like a grenade. You have no idea. 2022 dawned with lawsuits. Not mine, theirs. Lila's defamation suit against the podcast. Mom joining as co-plaintiff. My lawyers shredded it. Public interest. Truth as defense. The headlines twisted. Sisterly feud. Wall Street was accused of family sabotage. Controversy brewed. Talk shows debated toxic ambition. Therapists blamed narcissistic parenting. I went on one. CNN's prime time. Voice steady. Success isn't zero-sum. But betrayal is. Viewers split. Half hailed me as avenger. Half decried me as the villain who abandoned her dying mom. Protests outside the firm. Picketers with signs. Jasmine Hale, killer of family ties. Cops question me about this stabbing delusion, but no evidence. Just my word against ghosts. The climax hit in June. Mom's chemo breakthrough.
Funded by my check.
She rallied. Enough for a family summit at the condo. Alex mediated. Neutral ground, dinner on the balcony. City humming below. Lila arrived clean. 6 months sober. Eyes clear.
Mom.
Frail but fierce. In a silk scarf. Toasts clinked, awkward. Loaded.
To healing, Alex said.
But under the table, my foot tapped, the drive's copy on my phone. App ready to send to prosecutors if they slipped. Mom spoke first. Jasmine, I was wrong. Fear made me small. Tears. Genuine this time. Lila nodded. I envied you. Still do. That strength? I want it. The twist gutted me, not revenges.
But life's.
As dessert cleared, Mom pulled an envelope from her purse. One last secret. Inside. Dad's real will. Notarized 2008. Not the scraps we'd known. $5M. Hidden in a Cayman trust.
For me.
He saw your fire.
Yes.
Said you were the heir.
I.
Hid it. To keep Lila afloat. The world tilted. All the sabotage? Not just greed, jealousy. Yes. But rooted in Mom's guilt. She'd stolen my birthright to atone for favoring the weak link. Lila wept. We were going to tell you. After the treatment. Lies? Maybe. But the documents checked out. My PI confirmed overnight. The fortune? It bought peace. Mom's care secured. Lila's fresh start in therapy and trade school.
Me?
I donated half to that scholarship fund, named for Dad's victims. Happy ending? In America. It's messy. We hugged that night.
Tentative.
The skyline witnessing. But trust? Fractured porcelain. I kept the condo, the firm, Alex's hand in mine. And the knife's memory? It sharpened me. A blade turned outward. Yet, in quiet moments, doubt whispers. Was it mercy? Or just delaying the fall? Only time and maybe another death will tell. Time's a thief. But in my second life, I became the cop. 2023 rolled in like a hangover, headlines fading. But the scars itched. The trust fund hit my accounts, $2.5 million after taxes. A war chest that bought freedom and paranoia. I quit the firm on a whim. Or calculations started my own consultancy. Hail Edge Advisors. No more climbing corporate ladders laced with vipers, now. I built mine. Clients flocking for the tell-all aura. Podcasts booked solid. From betrayal to billions, Jasmine Hale's redemption. Redemption.
The word tasted like ash.
Alex and I dove into IVF, controversial in our circles, where natural was code for privilege. Needles, hormones, the cold sterility of clinics in the sky. It'll be our reset, he said, holding my hand through the cramps. But resets? They come with glitches. Mom moved into assisted living in Jersey, upscale, with views of the Palisades. I visited weekly, dinners of poached salmon and probing questions. How's the little one? She'd ask. Ultrasound pics pinned to her fridge. Her health stabilized, chemo scars fading. But the guilt? It festered in her eyes. Lila? She thrived in community college, graphic design, posting gratitude journals on Insta, curated vulnerability, American dream repackaged. but secrets breed more. One drizzly April afternoon, my phone buzzed, unknown number. MS.
Hale?
This is Detective Ruiz. NYPD cold cases. Got a tip on your 2021 stabbing. Mind coming in. My blood iced. The delusion. I'd buried it as trauma. Therapy speak for move on. But Ruiz's office smelled like stale donuts and old leads, corkboard pinned with crime scene photos, blurred for me. Thank God. My old statement typed crisp. Anonymous source claims your sister was in Williamsburg that night. Alibis shaky. Burner phone pinged near Midtown. Lila. Again. I leaned forward, voice even. What do you need? A polygraph. For her. Ruiz's eyes bored in. And yours? If you're game. I agreed. Controversial? Hell, turning family in. Even suspected. Split opinions like Moses at the sea. Social media erupted when it leaked. Justice for Jasmine versus Family First. Protests at my office. Feminists chanting empowerment. Trads decrying feminazi family wrecker. Lila's polygraph was a circus. Lawyers swarming. Mom wheeled in for support. She passed barely. Spikes on the graph for intent. I was home.
Jazz.
With Ma. But the pings lied. And her tears?
Crocodile.
Mine? Clean as a whistle. Ruiz nodded. We're reopening. Warrants out. The fallout was biblical. Mom collapsed, panic attack. Not cancer. Hospital vigil, me pacing. Alex brewing bad coffee. Lila catatonic in the waiting room. Why now? She whispered when I cornered her. We were healing. Healing? Or hiding? I flashed the phone logs, her burner. Bought cash at a bodega 2 blocks from my old condo. October 18th, 2021. 11:47 p.m. You were there. Her confessions spilled like cheap wine. Desperation.
Yes.
But Mom's whisper in her ear. Just scare her. Get the deed. It'll be quick. The knife? Impulse. Slipped from her purse. I didn't mean God.
Jazz.
The blood. I walked out. Rain soaking my coat. The city a blur of neon judgment. Back home. I locked the doors. Poured bourbon. Stared at the river. Twist. Not just betrayal. But codependence. A mother-daughter duo twisted by poverty's ghost. Dad's money hadn't fixed it. It had amplified. Climax brewed in court. Summer 23. Not murder, attempted. Statute breathing down. DA offered plea. Lila. 5 to 10 for manslaughter. Mom accessory after. I testified. Voice cracking on the stand. They raised me to fight. But this was war on me. Jurors wept. White. Middle class. Projecting their own skeletons. Verdict. Guilty. Lila. 7 years upstate. Mom. 3 with time served for cooperation. Controversy peaked. Op-ed screamed class betrayal versus overzealous prosecution. I got death threats. Fan mail. A Netflix deal for my story. But victory's hollow. Visiting hours at Bedford Hills. Lila through plexiglass. Orange jumpsuit swallowing her frame. I love you, she mouthed. I nodded. Hung up. Mom in minimum security. Knitting booties for the baby I'd never mention. Forgive, she rasped. Not yet. Mercy morphed to boundaries, letters. Not visits. Funds for commissary. Not freedom. Fall brought the baby. Elena Jasmine. 6 pounds 2 ounces. Screaming into a world I'd armored. Alex held her first, eyes wet. Our fighter. The condo nursery bloomed, crib by the window. Mobiles of stars. No ghosts here. I'd exorcise them with steel and will. Yet, tension lingered. A letter from Lila. Smuggled via Mom. The twist you never saw?
Dad didn't leave.
He was pushed. By Mom. For the money. Enclosed a photo. Faded Dad at a motel. Bruise on his neck. Mom's shadow in the door. My world cracked. Another layer? Or prison delusion? I hired the PI again. Digs deep. Truth. Dad's overdose in '09. Ruled accident. But Tuck's screen fuzzy. Mom's alibi. With Lila. At a movie. Ticket stubs forged. Timestamps off. The final confrontation. I drove to the prison. Elena napping in her carrier. Mom in the booth. Eyes lighting at the baby pic I slid over. Grandma's girl, she cooed. Truth time, I said. Dad. Her smile died. He was going clean.
To you.
The will?
Real. But I
Couldn't let him ruin Lila more. Ruin? By loving her less. By leaving her nothing. Confession flowed. Pills in his scotch. Staged as relapse. For family, I stood. Gathering Elena's things. Family died with him. And me? Almost. No cops this time, statute expired. Evidence ash. But the twist? Freedom's price. Carrying their sins. Or cutting loose. I chose the blade. Donated the remaining trust to victims' funds, embezzlement. Assaults. Mom and Lila? Letters faded. Then stopped. Elena's first word. Mine. 2024 etched itself in gold and grit. Elena's laughter filled the condo. A balm on wounds that scabbed but never scarred smooth. Alex and I balanced board meetings with bedtime stories. My consultancy booming, keynotes on resilient leadership, surviving the saboteurs. Audiences ate it up. Women in pantsuits nodding fierce. Men shifting uncomfortable. Controversy? My brand now. The woman who jailed her own for justice. Hailed as icon or pariah depending on the feed. But ghosts don't fade, they evolve. Mom's appeal hit in March. Compassionate release. Terminal now. Pancreatic shadow creeping. Lawyers called. Your testimony could sway. I paced the balcony. Elena babbling at pigeons. River churning below. Controversial calculus. Free the monster who birthed me. Or let karma claim. I visited. Last time. Maybe. Minimum security's garden. Roses wilting like her frame. Jazzy, she breathed.
For pole rattling.
The baby's beautiful. Like you. Don't. I sat. Elena's photo clutched.
Dad.
Tell me why. Her eyes distant. Voice a rasp.
Fear.
He saw your light. Said you'd outshine us. I couldn't bear it, being the dim one. Coughs racked her. Lila was my mirror. Soft. Needing. You? A storm. I dimmed you to keep peace.
Peace.
The lie of fractured homes. American suburbia's dirty secret. And the stabbing? Lila's rage. I planned the scare. Not the steal. But I covered, called the cops. Planted evidence. For her. I nodded. Throat tight. Release? I'll speak. But no contact. Ever. She died in May. Hospice quiet, obit in the post. Beloved mother. Survived by daughters. Lila read it in lockup. Sent a card. Sorry isn't enough. But it's all I got. Enough? For sleep. Maybe. Elena's second birthday. Cake smeared on chubby cheeks. Alex snapping pics. The party was small, friends. No blood. But the mail brought a package. Unmarked. Postmarked upstate. Inside, a locket. Mom's. With Dad's photo tucked inside. And a note. Lila script. The real twist. I saved you once. 2018. Your accident on the subway? Pushed by Mom's PI. To test your grit. I pulled you back. Flash. That near miss. Platform shove. Arms yanking me to safety. Anonymous hero. My savior? The killer. Layers upon lies. A Mobius of malice. Rage flared. Then ebbed. I burned the note. Kept the locket reminder. Not relic. No more digs. The past was a grave. And I'd stop shoveling. Summer peaked with a deal. Book auction. Silent inheritance. A daughter's reckoning. Advances hit millions. Proceeds split, half to scholarships, half to Elena's future. Launch party at the condo. Skyline aglow. Champagne flutes clinking. Reporters probed. Regrets? On the family? I smiled. Elena on my hip. Regrets for the weak. I chose strength. Climax's echo. A call from Ruiz. Lila's up for parole. Early. Good behavior. Your input. I paused. City hum below. Let her out. But watch her. Mercy. Evolved, not blind. But boundaried. Fall 2024. Lila walked free. Address a halfway house in the Bronx. No call. No visit. But Insta lit up her account. Reborn. New chapter. Grateful and growing. First post. A coffee shop sketch. Caption: learning to draw my own lines. I liked it. Anonymous. Controversial? Perhaps. Or just human. Winter wrapped us gentle. Holidays at a cabin upstate. Snow blanketing sins. Elena's first snowman. Lopsided and loved. Alex pulled me close by the fire. Proud of you.
Jazz.
All of it. Me too. And I was. Died betrayed. Reborn avenger. But the end? Not tragedy. Not fairy tale. American as it gets. Flawed victory. Family fractured but functional from afar. Lila's sketches arrived quarterly. And signed, talent blooming, untainted. The condo's windows framed it all, river flowing relentless. City pulsing with promise and peril. I raised a glass to ghosts, Mom's cunning. Dad's ghost. Lila's blade. To do-overs. And if death calls again, I'll go swinging. But for now, this life, messy. Mine. Unbreakable. Epilogue whisper. Elena. 3 now.
Points at the locket around my neck.
Pretty. I clasp it. Smile sharp. It's a story, baby. One day. I'll tell you. But not today.
Today.
We build.